With fears of a war with Iran shaking markets, Bitcoin experienced a teensy-weensy drop. However, with Bitcoin still sitting around $100,000, many are asking, was that it? Well, what if I told you that what's actually about to happen to Bitcoin isn't even big? It's really big. So if you're not bullish on Bitcoin anymore, but instead mega bullish, hit that like and subscribe. Get signed up with FEMX below if you want Bitcoin, altcoins, or trade. No restrictions using the link below. And without any further ado, so much to take a look at, considering that Bitcoin right now, as you can see, for the past couple of days has had, maybe a 1, maybe a 2% drop each day for the past 5 days. Is this big? Is it scary? Should we be squealing and panicking in fear? Well, Bitcoin negative funding into rising prices means the low is likely in. Negative funding indicates strong demand for short positions. And if prices continue to rise, what happens then is that it's amazing ingredients for a short squeeze. Considering also the environment we have right now with Bitcoin getting green light from regulators, being embraced by regulators, the SEC approving Bitcoin ETFs, Senate passing stablecoin bills, SEC approving NASDAQ to list options for ETFs. I mean, pretty much the most bullish framework in terms of regulation Bitcoin has ever seen by far. That's the backdrop. And as well, we see a potential gigantic inverse head and shoulder, which has been a very consistent and very often seen pre-pump pattern for these markets, potentially closer than ever to finally happening. All the while, obviously, Bitcoin is still kind of just trading sideways. Anything around 100K is literally just sideways. I mean, look at this chart. Even if we go back pretty much to December, so the past 6-7 months, it has been relatively sideways, except for the drop right in April and March, which again, wasn't that much, wasn't that big of a drop. It's still very sideways. However, there are some things that are very noticeably different. So another thing, the divergence between Bitcoin and M2 money supply is quite large. However, it's still signaling for $150,000 Bitcoin in just the next couple of months. Clearly, you can see right now the price of Bitcoin is going down, primarily because of the fears of a war with Iran. I'll give my honest opinion about that. I don't think there will be a prolonged war whatsoever. In terms of we're comparing these two militaries, it's not even a comparison. It's like comparing a fighter jet to a little squeaky toy, like a dog's squeaky toy. And you're going to say, who would win in a fight, a squeaky toy or a fighter jet? I mean, it's pretty much that simple. So that's my opinion on that. We also see the M2 still works, though, with about 11 or 12 week delay for the weekly chart for Bitcoin. As the House of Crypto says here, little Timmy had a good couple of days, but by the end of this week, he will be in tears coping again because, it's likely price is likely to rise. I tweeted a couple days ago, or I forget, maybe 1 or 2 days ago when Bitcoin was below 100K that I had bought, which I did. And, it's up a little bit. But again, I don't care about these short-term moves whatsoever. So actually, one thing I do want to say is that I make videos about Bitcoin. So I feel an obligation that I have to come on at least once a week and make a video and share my opinion. But I'm going to be totally honest. There's really not much to share. I find this so boring in terms of not only am I not scared, this is so boring that I have to force myself to make a video. Just maybe once a week, just because people, I get comments all the time if I don't post, in a couple days being where are you, make an update. Guys, I have an internet persona, right, where I'm making videos, but my true deep down opinion of this is that I'm extremely bullish. I don't care about these little drops whatsoever. Again, you look at this chart, nothing happened really. Nothing. You can see there's some little red dots on this screen, but nothing has happened. The thing is, if you've been in this market for 6 months, this will scare you. If you're inexperienced, this will scare you. If you're new to these markets, this will scare you. This is, I don't know, I think I've been investing in Bitcoin for 8 years or something, which is not not a lot for some people, but then so much time compared to some of the people watching. If you have experience in these markets, this is nothing, okay? Nothing has happened. This isn't scary at all. I'm as bullish as I've ever been. I have more money than I have ever had. So again, a part of me just wishes I don't even want to like get on and talk about my opinion on Bitcoin because nothing has changed in terms of my opinion. I'm as bullish as ever, in fact, more bullish. Every time that it goes down a little bit, all it does is I buy more of it. That's literally all I do. And it has worked so well for the past 8 years. And if I'm alive for another 8 years, that's all I'm going to be doing for the next 8 years in terms of financial game plan, basically. Buying more of it. It's that simple. Do not overcomplicate it. If you want to cry about Bitcoin being down 0.6% today, then you can cry, but I guarantee you're not going to do that well compared to somebody who doesn't cry every time the price barely goes down a little bit. And that leads perfectly into this. It blows my mind how uninterested people are in Bitcoin. And also, what is this comment? Yeah, it says they will become interested when the TV tells them to. Just like in 2021, when everybody on the internet was saying how, or not on the internet, on TV was saying how everyone was like bullish on Bitcoin, including like the TV news anchors. Then people will probably start FOMOing in. But the sentiment is awful. I had a tweet the other day basically saying something like, "This is the worst sentiment has ever been," and sentiment and price are two different things. The price looks fantastic on Bitcoin, not on altcoins. Bitcoin sitting at 100K is not something to be bearish about. The sentiment, however, is awful. People are just not joining the space. I think that's amazing. I think that's one of the best indicators we have, even though there's so many other good indicators. The fact that people are like majorly depressed on Bitcoin, majorly hating on Bitcoin and thinking that it's never gonna go up again is literally exactly what happens before it does. And do I know exactly what day it's going to happen? No. I never have claimed to know exactly when we're going to go up. Most people don't claim that. At the end of the day, not a single person on the planet knows exactly when, but it's irrelevant, right? Like, it doesn't matter if it's tomorrow or a week from now. I mean, I guess it does if you really want to. It depends on your life and your circumstances. If you like, for some reason, need to be a millionaire by next week, I guess then it might matter to you. But like, that's not what this is for. It's not what it's about. We also see, for example, the Bitcoin treasury adoption by public companies has become, according to Adam Back, the new altcoin season. Considering altcoins have been doing so bad, maybe it's not going to be as simple as just buying any random altcoin and making millions of dollars anymore. Do you ever think maybe that's what's happening? Maybe you can't just buy every random altcoin and get rich. Maybe you have to adapt, and maybe there's new plays and new things you have to be looking at. For example, Bitcoin treasury adoption. We see that he says here, time to dump alts into Bitcoin or Bitcoin treasuries. Bitcoin treasury firms are buying Bitcoin on repeat to increase their Bitcoin per share, tapping into different funding methods such as convertible note offerings, similar to MicroStrategy or Strategy now, Michael Saylor, to accumulate more of the world's first crypto, meaning Bitcoin. He also says the treasury stocks to buy Bitcoin on repeat to increase Bitcoin per share. That's why people buy them. The private placements, converts, ATMs, bonds, all that kind of money goes straight into buying Bitcoin. At least 240 public companies now hold Bitcoin on their balance sheets, up from 124 firms just a few weeks ago, accounting for about 4% of the total Bitcoin supply. That's crazy. Back also previously predicted that institution and government adoption would make Bitcoin a $200 trillion market opportunity as Bitcoin treasury firms, which is insane as well. Bitcoin is only a few trillion now. Imagine 200 trillion. Absolutely insane. We see, for example, also Bitcoin treasury firms present growing concerns for shareholders. Metaplanet's Bitcoin premium soared to about 600,000 on May 27th, meaning stockholders are paying more than fivefold for Bitcoin exposure via Metaplanet, for example, compared to MicroStrategy or Bitcoin. So the premiums are exploding. But as well, we take a look at this. Everyone is starting a Bitcoin treasury company to buy Bitcoin for billions, and the price is stable. Must be a lot of paper Bitcoins out there now. OTC is clearly part of that answer as well, but it is, a very growing phenomenon that's also expected, right? It's not something that just completely blindsided everyone last week. When MicroStrategy started implementing its strategy that people are copying, many people started predicting that they would start copying Michael Saylor and Strategy's playbook, and they are, and they have. Bitcoin's weakness shall pass after a dip below 100K, says Arthur Hayes. It's lost about 8% over the past week as geopolitical tensions and military actions between Israel and Iran ramp up. And what Arthur Hayes says here is that money printers are revving up, and weakness shall pass in Bitcoin and will leave no doubt as to its safe haven status. In addition, institutional demand remains very strong, despite Bitcoin being slightly under 100K temporarily. with these geopolitical tensions, its resilience suggests strong institutional support and long-term bullish sentiment. Underscores crypto sensitivity to macro risks, however, and highlights the ongoing pattern to absorb shocks and continue in a general bullish trend. So overall, in fact, the fact that Bitcoin is still right at 100K, I mean, if we go back, really what this happened, Bitcoin was at 108. Now it went down maybe about 10%. Currently, it's about 7 or so percent down from those highs from about a week ago. This isn't anything crazy. I mean, we see the S&P down similarly. A lot of stocks are down similarly. But it doesn't seem, I mean, we're not seeing oil prices surge, you know, the fears of the Strait of Hormuz or whatever being closed off, which accounts for like 25% of the world's oil supply. You would think oil prices would start surging if that was a real fear. We're not seeing that. We're also seeing a lot of other stock and financial data that's indicating that there's not a lot of fear around anything very big escalating here. You look at the price of Bitcoin on a weekly chart, we're still significantly above the 21 week, which is right about 95,000. 94 to 95,000 is still very reasonable and realistic over the next couple of days, especially if we don't get any more resolution or updates in terms of a potential war, right? Then that's very easily a target that we could look for. Just like we went from about 110 down to about 75,000 just a couple of months ago. Here we are at we're at 112. Now we're at 100 roughly. These are these are just completely normal market moves, but we're talking about potential wars as well, and the market is like barely moving. So these are not like, so far these price moves are nothing. We could go a lot lower in the short term, maybe. The only thing that you should be viewing that as, though, is an opportunity to buy more of it for cheap. Literally, I've been saying that for the past 8 years, since Bitcoin was like $1,000. It is now 100x higher than that. You will never convince me that that's a silly thing to say. In fact, everybody that was telling me not to buy Bitcoin back in 2017, when I started buying it, either eventually asked me how to buy it, or, you know, it's just, I don't know, completely delusional. And they're like not happy financially. They're doing very poorly in general. So, you know, maybe it's learned experience, lived experience, but, you know, it's not like I've been doing this for a month or something. Okay. This is crazy how often if you do something and invest a lot of time and you see how things happen over and over and over and over and over again, it's not a guarantee that it's going to happen that way forever, but you get a very clear picture of who is actually giving you real information and who is just unable to regulate their emotions and actually has no idea what they're talking about. And if you're telling somebody that Bitcoin right now is a silly thing to buy, I guarantee you, show me that person. I would love to know how much research they've done on anything. I would love to know their educational background. I would love to know how they're doing financially, because I guarantee it's probably not that good, and it's not somebody I'd want to trade places with. Let me just sum up the video by saying, I'm buying Bitcoin. And get started with Femex below for my Bitcoin altcoins or trade. With how you from the goo, that's it for me.